goody? We're going to try this again because Instagram has been killing our vibe and been hating on us. I've been trying to go live with Miss Michelle for like a minute now, and it keeps giving me errors. But we're going to try again. And if not, if it doesn't work today, we're going to go live tomorrow. But we're going to try again. We're going to make this work. So I'm about to add errors and hating because I don't know what's up with Instagram today, y'all. Yay! Turn the camera
Oh
on,
my God,
Michelle.
it
Hey,
worked.
we got action. Really
That is so funny.
fun. And then, oh my gosh. And of course, it works when you're about to be on your time crunch. So I don't
I
know.
know, but we can do a continuation still tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, what happened? I lost her. What's up? Come on, IG. Don't do this to
Oh
us.
no. Okay. All right. All
Yeah,
right.
we got action. Oh,
Oh my
we were
goodness.
struggling today to get on live today. So if you're
I
just
know.
joining
What a
us,
challenge.
if
Well,
you're here,
thank you for having me, Katrina.
thank you, thank you. This is Instagram was taking on our flow
For
today. I'm gonna let y'all know
sure.
that. But since we're in a time crunch, we're gonna do a two-part with this. Today we're gonna do half the conversation, just some, and then we're gonna do some tomorrow at 7. And then you guys can ask questions if you have concerns and stuff like that. Because I know you're on a time crunch and I don't want to hold you. That's really it.
No
I want
worries. I'm glad we got it working.
yeah, so how long I got you for? Like 10, 15? I don't want
Um,
to get you.
we have 20 minutes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So let's start from the beginning. Your name is Michelle Forrest Akman. From what you told us before in the snippet of the video, you're an environmental engineer and an urban planner. How would you describe yourself in 3 words as a woman in construction, especially a Black woman in
Ooh.
construction?
How would I describe myself in 3 words? I haven't always been this way, but I have to be confident.
Okay.
Just how I present myself and confident in what I say in the room because people are looking at me like, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
I'm very mature for my age, so I will say I'm 32, and people are always kind of shocked to know that I've been in the industry since I was 22, and I've had to be more mature in just how I present myself because who is listening to like a 22-year-old girl in the room? So
Right.
I would
Right.
characterize myself as mature. And I would say I'm also funny. Like people like the energy that I bring.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say those 3 things.
Okay. So you said confident, you said funny, you also said mature.
Mature,
Um,
yeah.
how would you say, how does that keep you interested in work or interested in working in construction?
So it's a challenge, right? Like, in every step that I've taken in my career, I've been challenged in my knowledge and in how I presented myself and, in just meeting new people and having to prove myself. And I kind of enjoy that. It keeps me interested because I know that, like, I'm not going to get bored, especially like in project-based industries where you have to work on different projects. So I can wrap up a project and be on to the next one, and it's a new challenge. So that's fun, and it keeps me engaged, and it keeps me kind of working on myself because I learn, from, okay, maybe that project didn't go so well, or I didn't like the way I handled myself in that meeting, or whatever the case may be. So I always have, the opportunity to improve, and that kind of drives me day to day.
Okay. You just said something interesting, like your humility to be honest, like, okay, sometimes things didn't go
Yeah.
well at work, you know what I mean? Tell me about a time you made a mistake at work and you had to fix it. Like, how do you handle being humble but not downplaying yourself at work? You know, how do you handle
Yeah.
mistakes?
For sure. So, in a previous job, I had a meeting with a high-level executive in the hospital, and they were kind of quizzing me on certain aspects of the particular project because, I was requesting funding, and I goofed on one of the details about a piece of equipment,
Mhm.
and the executive knew I goofed because, like, the metric that I gave was so off. It was like it wasn't possible that that was the correct um information, and he caught me on it. And I remember saying, first of all, like my heart sunk because I was like, oh my God, I screwed up. But I caught myself by just, being honest and saying, I'm so sorry. I mixed that up with another job. And this is the correct information. And, I'll verify it by sending you the cut sheet on the equipment when I leave the meeting. So
Okay.
just, following up after the fact, just to own up to my mistake, but also let them know that, like, I do know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I just made an error. was
Yeah.
how I kind of recovered from it. But yeah, I had to own up to that, really, because he caught it.
Yeah,
And
you're
then I
like,
had to
oh,
follow up after the meeting and
yeah.
let him know, like, okay, I actually have my stuff together.
But that's great though. At least you were honest. You know, sometimes like we like the inner kid in us. We get nervous, like, oh my God, should I tell my mistake? But you know, we're human. It's okay to be humble. You know, be just to be human. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
for sure.
what's something that you thought was hard when you first started construction, but now it's like a breeze?
Oh my goodness. Honestly, when I first started, one of my first projects was a huge data center. And for people who know anything about IT or anything about construction, it's a lot of acronyms, right? RTUs, crack units, like different acronyms. And I remember being in a meeting and saying, I'm never going to learn these acronyms. Like, I'm never going to learn what these things mean ever in my life. And now people are like, what does that mean? And I'm like, oh, it's XYZ. So
Yeah.
just like getting familiar with construction terms, because there's just so many. And I think as you get seasoned in the industry, you learn slang words and you're like, what the hell is that? I know those now. And it's like, it's weird because now I've been in the industry 10 years and like I can talk construction slang with somebody who's been in the industry for 30, 40 years.
That's
And that's
yeah.
something that I never expected when I sat down, like in my first construction meeting.
That's cool. It just shows evolution. That's really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to build their construction career, who hasn't had a
Wow.
background like you?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, start somewhere, right? I think there's so many ways to get involved in construction, whether you want to be in the trades or whether you want to be on the management side or whether you want to be on the finance side or whether you want to be on the commissioning side or the supplier. I mean, there's so many aspects, contracts, administration. There's so many different ways to get in construction. So just like get involved, like do something, just try something and kind of navigate and find where you kind of fit in.
Okay.
Some of it is opportunistic. Like for me, for example, Hurricane Sandy was my opportunity because there was a ton of construction that had to get done in New York City, and they were looking for people to manage these really kind of impossible projects that had FEMA money involved, and nobody
Mhm.
really wanted to do it. So it was opportunity based, but oftentimes it's just, filling out an application. Like maybe they're looking for an entry level finance manager that's working at a construction company or an assistant project manager, which is how I started well, got more into construction because I was doing more facilities energy management stuff before I got into the construction industry. But, starting out as somebody's assistant,
Yeah.
that was really how I got my legs.
You know, sometimes people are afraid to be someone's assistant. You can't just go straight to
Yeah,
being the boss. It's okay to take the steps to learn because maybe you need someone who's your mentor. You know what I mean? It's just
absolutely.
about
Yeah.
who
Yep.
would you
Sorry.
say is your mentor?
Oh my goodness. My mentor is this wonderful woman who in the middle of her career decided to leave and New York City finance at a lucrative bank and start her own energy company.
Oh wow.
Um, sorry. Is that my phone? It is. Um, she decided to leave her lucrative banking job and start her own energy company. At the time, energy was deregulated in New York City, so she was a supplier selling energy to various companies. She took me under her wing when I was a senior at Columbia University in environmental engineering, and I was an environmentalist, right? I thought I was going to save the world at 21 years old. I thought I was going to make everybody go green. But within my university, we had some environmental stewardship organizations, and she was doing the energy management for my university.
Mhm.
And I was working for her after graduation, and she to this day is somebody who I could call and say, I need a job, like, I
That's
need
great.
this, or, I need to cry to you, I need to vent. And she's just a wonderful, wonderful woman in energy. Shout out to Jennifer.
Hey, hey, Jennifer, you always need a mentor. You know what? Sometimes you could be a mentor too. You don't even know. Someone could hear a small quote you said, and you know what I mean? That helps build them
Yeah.
along the way.
And that's
You
where I
know? Right.
feel like I'm at the point now where like I want to be a mentor to somebody, because I know how pivotal it was for me at 21 years old. And now I feel like I'm in the position where I could be that for somebody else. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to, join your live.
Okay, that's so great. Especially with working construction, there's always something to fire. There's always an emergency. Something's always
Oh,
wrong. How do you
yeah.
balance like a work-life balance, especially because you just said you're a new mom, you're married, you're living life, you live it, girl. So how do you find a balance in between work and life, especially with a high demand job?
So I think part of it is now that I'm kind of in, middle management and seasoned a little bit more, I feel more comfortable reaching out to people for help.
Oh,
I think when I was newer and younger, I was afraid to ask for help because I was trying to prove myself and like show that I could do everything by myself. And I think ultimately that was like really unhealthy at a point for me where I just like took on way, way too much responsibility and I didn't have a work-life balance. I would go on vacation and like be glued to my phone because I was like, I
that's the
gotta like be
worst.
involved in this. Yeah, like I have to be in this meeting and I'm like on the beach in Jamaica. It's just like ridiculous.
Yeah,
And now I have more faith in I'm building partnerships with my team to where I can be like, look, we'll talk after I get back or like you handle this. And especially like having to take maternity leave, I literally couldn't be involved in stuff that I had my hands all the way in and I had to totally give it to God and like my team and walk away. And I think just
yeah.
like being working with my team really helped me build a strong work-life balance.
How did you feel being a woman in construction and going on maternity leave? How was it? How was it handling both those worlds together?
Oh my God, such a deep question because I like never thought I would get married or have kids just because I was like I am and was so career driven and I have still so many goals that I want to accomplish and I think was like indoctrinated to think that if I got married and had kids, I wouldn't be able to accomplish my goals.
Mm,
And so when things did start to happen for me in my personal life, I was private about it because I didn't want people to judge me or to be in my business really. And
yeah.
I like didn't tell anybody I was pregnant. I didn't tell
Oh,
anybody I got
really?
paid.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me
Yeah.
you got married. You was
Yeah, no,
scared.
seriously. I was like really private about a lot of things because I didn't want people to cast me out. Like, oh, I'm not going to
Mm,
give her that project because she just got married and or
she
like,
may
oh,
go
she's
on
about to get
maternity
pregnant. And they're
leave.
like,
How
right. Yeah.
how was it going on maternity
It
leaves though? When you have
was
to
tough.
let go of that power,
I
how
had
did
to
it
let
work?
go. And it like honestly, it ended up not even being a choice for me because I had preeclampsia. I had a very
Oh, okay.
challenging delivery. My pregnancy was fine, but I had a challenging delivery and God kind of forced me to take time off. He was like, you got to get healthy. So I was kind of forced into that. But it was tough for me. I had to give a lot up. And, as people say all the time, like having a baby, like pregnancy, it changes you. It changes you completely. Like you have to put that child first. And that was a big change for me for sure. Because I was like used to putting my job first for a big part of my career. And finally, I was just like, you know what? It's not about family is most important. Like this baby is more important than anything anybody could even say to me right now.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you find it hard sometimes to tear yourself away from work to be a good wife and a good
Not
mom? Like, do you?
anymore. Not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, not anymore. I feel like it's like almost innate now that I'm like, all right, I gotta make sure my kid is good, I'm good, we ate, everybody's good, and then it's work. And I think that might also be because I have a really great boss right now.
Hmm.
And like one of the key things that he said to me when I told him that I was pregnant and just like, when I was transitioning back into office, because I am the first woman in my company to ever go on maternity leave.
Oh,
So it
really?
was like a
Wow.
whole culture change for everybody of like, how are we going to handle this? And
How
he told me
how
straight
did your
up,
job handle? How did your job handle you
they
going on maternity leave?
were so tremendously supportive. They created, updated the policies to allow me to go on maternity and were really supportive through the whole process and really left it up to me to, let them know what I needed. Like, okay, I'm
That's
coming
great.
back on this day, or I can't come back right now. Or, I actually ended up going back part-time
Hmm.
to work just because we were still feeling it out and I still wasn't 100% healthy. But again, my boss was really pivotal in getting my mind right because he was just like, family is most important. And like, and it was so true because it's like your family is most important, right?
Right.
And I would never although I'm so dedicated to my career and to my job, and I love the where I work and everything, I would never put my family over anything.
That's good. And, it takes time to just develop that love because before, like you said, you weren't focused on that. You were just like, let me get this
Right.
bread, let me get my goals crushed.
Yeah.
Can you give examples of good work life practices that you use to like balance yourself out, or even like as a new
Yeah.
mom, because you like
Yeah.
literally you're talking to me, but I know you're probably wondering like what the heck the
Yeah.
baby's doing right now. You know
Yeah,
what I
I'm
mean?
like listening out for him. So being on a schedule, so I schedule like my personal life and I schedule my professional life. So like
Okay.
I really try to keep it between 9 and 5 when possible. Especially like early on postpartum, when I was getting back into work, I really didn't check my phone like
Oh,
outside
really?
of work hours. Like I made that a thing. Um, I'll occasionally check my phone outside of work hours now, but I try to live within that space just to for me,
Mhm.
and also for the baby. People think I'm like insane, but I also like have my child on a pretty decent, not schedule, but
Routine.
routine. So
Okay.
yeah, it's helpful for me because like I know, okay, like I put him down for a nap at 2 o'clock, he'll be asleep for an hour. I can have this meeting between 2 and 3. So when I'm scheduling things for work, I schedule it around my son. Like, okay, I know, especially when he was breastfeeding, all right, I'm gonna breastfeed him at 10 a.m. So I'm not taking any meetings at that time. And you know, they gotta understand, I gotta feed my son, right?
Yeah.
So the routine and the schedule really help me kind of balance everything.
Okay. You said you have a son. Would you want your son to go in your field of work?
Yeah, I would love that. And really, like in any aspect, I think we need more people in the trades.
Okay.
Like everybody I talk to in the trades, or like upper management in subcontracting or construction, are like we need more tradespeople. It's so hard to find good electricians, good
Yeah.
HVAC techs. Like they're like not people don't do that anymore. I feel like 10,
Everybody's a
20 years
YouTube
ago.
star.
Yeah, like people don't go to trade school anymore. I would like be happy if he was like, "Mom, I want to be a master electrician." I'm like, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Like, yeah, no, I would love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Um, you were talking about balance and trying to make sure that everything works for you in a schedule.
Yeah.
How do you avoid a burnout? Because regardless, we're human, and with the difficult field,
Mhm.
how do you avoid a burnout?
Asking for help, and that's been the hardest thing. Like I am such a do-it-all person, but there comes a point in time where like you have to ask for help. My mom, my sisters, my niece have been so critical. Like they're watching my son right now, right? And like you got to ask for help, and it's all right, you got to ask for help, whether it's people at work or family members or friends. I had a homegirl come twist my dreads when I was postpartum. Like, okay, I can't, I usually do my own hair. I was like, sis, you got to come do my hair for me. Asking for help, I think, is really key in having a balance and just not being a do-it-all person and knowing that you can collaborate and work smart, not hard. That's one of my keys that I'll leave with people is please don't overwork yourself. If there's an easier way to get it done, if you can afford to hire somebody to do it, or get somebody to do you a favor, please take advantage of that. It's no sense in burning yourself out trying to do it all if your homegirl can come over and twist your dreads for you. There is no sense in you trying to do that and cook dinner and feed so
Yeah.
ask for help.
Especially as a new mom, you're dealing with postpartum, you're dealing with a lot mentally,
Yeah,
your
she
body's
washed my
changed.
dishes too after she did my hair.
Yeah, that's a good friend right there.
Yes.
That's definitely a good friend right there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so how do you have friends in construction or people in construction who motivate you in your
Yes. Oh my God. I have two amazing people who I would shout out for this. I have so many friends in construction, but I have two friends in particular who I'll shout out. One who's also a project manager. She and I worked together and ended up leaving the company at similar times and kind of branching off. And, we both had really stable jobs, but knew we kind of wanted to advance in our careers. So I think we motivated each other to say, we can do more. So she's a really, really good friend of mine and somebody who I look up to. And I have another homegirl who's in contract management who is like my day one, right? Like I love her. She's the one who did my dreads. She started out in contracts in a completely different industry and took a chance as an admin in construction and ends up working her way up and as a contract manager. Really proud of her because it just shows that like you actually don't have to have a background at all in construction to get in the industry. So she's somebody who I would shout out as well.
Yeah, you just have to take a chance. When
Yeah.
was the last time you took a chance or tried something new?
I'm really coming to this job I'm at now. I'll be there only 2 years as of December 1st. And again, I was at a really stable job at a major hospital in New York. For those who want to, find me on LinkedIn, you can find out the exact details, but I won't say them here. And I left that extremely stable, lucrative job because I was burnt out, to be honest. And it was
Mhm.
hard for me to even admit that. Like when I was leaving, people were shocked I was
How
leaving,
did,
and I'm like,
how did
I'm
you
like
know?
depressed.
How did you know you were burnt out or depressed? Like this
There
job
was
is
like
not for you.
yeah, no, there was like a critical moment where somebody like said something to me and I snapped and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta get out of here. Like someone's gonna get hurt.
She's like, I'm a smoker, man.
It broke me down so bad. I was like on the train crying. Like I was so sad. And I was like, wow, this is not healthy.
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here. Yeah,
Just
yeah. But I
sometimes,
loved that job. It just wasn't healthy anymore.
and that's the thing. Sometimes it's like you'll love a job, but you don't love the
Yeah,
people there, and you gotta
it
realize you
wasn't
deserve
healthy
better.
for
You gotta
sure.
deserve better. Like, I be telling someone like, this week I might be an actor. Next week I might be a clown on Ringling Brothers. You don't know. We're gonna live many
Yeah,
different lives throughout our lives. We shouldn't be afraid
yeah.
to live. You know.
Mhm.
What's something you would say to your future self that you would hope to say to future self 20 years from now?
Yeah, what I would say to my future self is you did it because I know I'm going bigger places than where I'm at now.
Mhm.
And I want to congratulate her because I feel like we work so hard and we never like take a moment to congratulate ourselves or just like be proud of ourselves. I would say to future me, girl, you worked hard. I don't want to get emotional because it really has been a journey for me. But I would say to her, you did it. You balanced it, right? Because at that point, my child will be a grown, and hopefully things will be in place for me. And I'm so proud of that girl, or that woman, because I know that I'm gonna get there.
What would your younger self see? You know, the kid in you who was like vibrant and trying to see the world. Do you think you're making her proud right now?
I am, but I think about her all the time because I wish I would have studied more. And I always think, like in a great place now, but if I was really, really focused and in the books hard, I mean, I did great, right? But I could have done better. And I feel like I talk to that girl sometimes and I say, girl, if you had studied harder for that test, imagine where you would actually be. So,
Don't worry,
yeah.
nobody uses calculus nowadays.
Right,
Nobody
right.
uses a squared plus b squared. No one. Trust me. Give me
Yeah,
two people you know.
true.
Yeah. Because sometimes you're hard on yourself because you're like you're not living in
I'm
the
so hard
moment. You know what I
on
mean?
my
Yeah, you're
yeah.
not living in the moment. Like right now, you're killing it.
Hmm.
You're managing multiple lives. Before you probably thought, oh, that's just it.
Yeah,
I'm just listen, that's
yeah,
it. That's it.
right.
But now you're a mom. You're this. Also, you said you're in urban planning and also an environmental engineer. What made you get into that? Because most of the time, people of color normally don't get into the energy or the green space. What made
Yeah,
you get into
I
that?
would love to get into the entire story in more detail. We are kind of running out of
Oh yeah,
time today.
yeah,
I would love to kick off tomorrow with kind of like A to Z of how I got started
yeah,
and
yeah.
what got me interested. In fact, my sister, Kiana, who I would give 100% credit for introducing me to engineering, just joined the live. So maybe
Hey,
we can get
yeah.
her in tomorrow as well and I can share the entire story, but the journey did start when I was 16 and I was introduced to engineering by her and it kind of, to here. So we can pick it up there tomorrow.
We'll definitely pick it up because today Instagram was
I'm so
taking
sorry.
us out.
Yeah.
But I feel like we got some great answers. We got some great conversation. The chat was going on. People talking,
Yeah,
inspired people, people talking.
questions that we
Yeah.
didn't get to answer.
If you have,
I just want to go through the chat real quick.
yes, there's a
I think
lot going
somebody
on.
asked where I was from. I'm from New Jersey.
Jersey. Whoop, whoop.
Yes.
We gotta link up. We gotta link up.
Essex County, born and raised.
Yeah, we're
I
gonna link
think that,
up for brunch. I'm right up the
yeah.
street from her. Yes.
Well,
But if you
thanks to everybody.
Thank you,
for
thank you,
getting
thank you.
on.
There's
We'll
a
see
lot
you
of good.
tomorrow, hopefully.
We'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully Instagram is on our side and not hating,
Yeah.
because Michelle has a lot to give. And I appreciate you so much for coming on the line.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to finish talking with you tomorrow.
All right, we're gonna see you tomorrow. So,
Okay.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you again, Michelle, for joining us. In
Thank you
case
so much.
I'm gonna add her Instagram at the end of this, and let's see. It should. All right, I'm not sure how to turn it off for you, but I guess you just when you disconnect, it will close it out. But I'm gonna add her Instagram at the end of this chat. We're gonna give her all her information so you guys can add her tomorrow. We're gonna go live again because we're gonna allocate more time to it. But just again, thank you again, and also get your questions
Thank
ready. We got a bunch
you.
more questions and more in depth. So see you guys
Thanks,
tomorrow. Bye.
everybody.
Bye, guys. Yay! Woo, woo. Instagram finally worked. It was hating on us earlier, but we finally got it to work. Michelle, I just added her Instagram. Definitely follow her. She's an amazing person. She's an amazing Black woman in construction who's killing it. She's going to be back here tomorrow to give you guys more time, more questions. We're going to make it a two-part interview. So again, tomorrow, two-part interview with Michelle. Definitely follow her on IG. We'll see you then. Bye.